I have a 14-year-old. I have zero personal space. There is no such thing as personal space.
It's not quite true.
No, God. You had to sleep in the bed with me last night. There was no personal space. Good Lord.
Was I attacking you?
Yes. Does he kick?
Yes. Okay, look at this thing. King size bed. Okay, so imagine that's your bed. And that's me.
On the very edge.
No, use it.
This was him. With this, and a little bit of that, and that, and then some of that. I have no idea how that works out mathematically.
Oh, yeah, I have a cat.
It
Yes.
does the same
There you go.
thing,
She
right?
does the same freaking thing, and sooner or later I'm falling
It's
off the
amazing.
bed and I go to the other side and she'll start moving that way too. It's ridiculous.
Crowding it up.
And she's only like a small animal, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
he's a
that's what
small
kids do.
animal as well. Okay, so
Cats, African hounds, teenagers.
let's paint. What do y'all like to? What would y'all like to see? Capes? Everybody likes to see capes
Yeah,
because you
capes.
put capes on every single D&D character you ever made.
Almost.
Here's my barbarian. What's he wearing? A cape and a loincloth. Seems legit. That's
what barbarians wear, right?
Exactly. Barbarians are like, I made a loincloth.
Loincloth and boots. I've
It's like
actually
you're-
got one that's dressed up like
The
that.
level 1 character automatically gets a cape from the guest.
What,
No matter what class
what
you-
color cape should we make?
Uh,
Let's do green.
yeah.
This right here, I don't know if any of y'all use this and you're taking painting serious. This is my brain. This is doodles and recipes. This is cooking, my cookbook for painting. See, look, how do you paint a tree? I don't know, let's paint a tree in the book. So when I look at my cape, I can just go to cape, and I have my colors. So we're gonna take some iron hole gray. I'm using P3 paints. P3, the reason I use P3 paints is because the only way to do a two-brush wet blend is by using P3 paints. All the other, they are specifically designed for this technique. Other companies are not designed for that technique, so I'm not saying they're good or bad, but if you want to use this technique, you need to use P3 paints. The Vallejo and the Reapers, Vallejo in particular, if you, the two-brush wet blend, you do put paint in your mouth, Vallejo will kill you. It has cadmium in it. You don't want cadmium in your bloodstream. The Reaper paints just don't break apart when you do it, and I'm gonna explain what it is here in a moment.
What about Citadel paints?
Citadel paints are non-toxic, but will not do the technique. They will not break apart. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to base coat this with a little great coat. I'm just going to water down the paint a little bit.
So you don't use wet palette, I notice.
I do not use a wet palette at all. These things, this little guy right here, this little a word that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what this word is for this thing.
It's a
Like
mixing
an
device.
egg.
Yeah, my Ramicon. It does a wonderful job. Like this paint right there, I can take this little paint pot and I can stick it right on top of there, and I can go cook dinner, eat dinner, do dishes, drive to the store, buy the cookies that I wasn't supposed to have but I wanted them anyways, come back home, eat the cookies, and then I still have wet paint. So this thing is really good for that kind of stuff. So real quick, I'm just doing a real quick base coat of great coat, trying to get everywhere. Just a nice wet brush. We'll do the underside here.
What is that you have that stuff to?
This little doodad.
Yeah.
This is a neat thing. A friend of mine gave me this. It's I can't remember what company makes it. There's a company that makes these, and you just pass it around. And it's just got like a male torso, male, female head. It's got some fur. It's got a cape. Come on in if y'all want to paint. And they're just pre-made, and so it's really great for like I've used it a couple times for color testing. Like, what does it look like if I want to paint yellow skin? I've never painted yellow skin. Let's try yellow skin. So you paint yellow skin on a guy. And like that doesn't work. And you throw it in a like simple green, and it just strips all the paint off, and I can try again. So it's like a little test. Let me know. Anybody use a hairdryer to speed up your painting process? Yeah, because when you're waiting for paint to dry, what do you end up doing? Playing video games. And then you're painting. There's nothing wrong with that except for it only takes like 10 minutes to wait for the paint to dry, and you just play video games for 2 hours.
And you gotta go back to work. Hey, at least you're sure it's dry.
This thing is super for helping you get stuff done. You know, you can get them really cheap. Just somebody didn't ever tell me, don't use the hot setting.
Just thinking about that for bones. I'm real.
They finally stand up again.
Oh!
It's like, oh, my sword was bending. Now it's not. Now it's melting. But if you warm up the product and then you go to do painting, your paint dries way too quick and you will get nothing done. Like, so we used a cold setting. It took me seriously like 3 months to figure that out. This hairdryer thing sucks. People are dumb. Okay, so I'm going to make up a base color. Now we're going to start with the 2-brush wet blend pretty soon. So we've got to find my colors. As you can see, I start writing names on it because it makes things faster. But, as you can also see, I didn't finish. So it makes things slower and more agitating. Look at that. Yeah. I'm using 3 colors for my shade here on my first shade. We're going crazy. So I'm going to use a little bit of Thamar black, and that's like a pure black. I'm going to use a little Exile blue, just to gray it up a little bit. And then I like a nice warm softness to my color, so I'm going to add a little Idrian flesh. And like recipes, anytime you find recipes, God, it makes painting so much quicker. If you find a recipe like in a painting tutorial, steal it. Like totally just steal it and write it down. That way you can always recall it. And then like practice on it, try different things. Like I have a couple of them where it's like, you know, I read an article and the guy's like, yeah, I use these 3 colors. And then I'm like, well, what if I took out one color and I added in a different color so you get a different effect? Try that, practice it. But it gives you that basic place to start. It makes painting way quicker. Where am I kicking? So, the 2-brush wet blend is seriously you're using 2 brushes and you're wet blending the paint. What you're wet blending with is your spit. That's why you can't use Vallejo paints because they'll kill you, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to put a little dot of paint. You got to make sure it's real wet. And I use a number 1 to apply my paint, and then number 2, and I'm using Winsor Newton's. A lot of discussion about paint brushes. These are the best. Plain and simple. They're fat. Do y'all know all the paint parts of the paintbrush? So you have the shaft, the I don't remember them all. Ferrule. Then the tip itself is the barrel and the point, and the Winsor Newtons have a real fat barrel. And what that allows is for you to get a lot of paint up in there, and it holds it and keeps it wet for longer periods of time. Like I'm sure you've painted eyeballs, and you're just like, you go in there and you're like, you take the big deep breath.
I use a marker for that.
The marker works. You come in there, you take a big deep breath, and you put the brush to the thing, and your paint's dry, right? Because you're using probably like a 10-aught, right? Because you're like, the 10-aught, that's how I paint eyes. No, I paint eyes with a number 2. Because the Winsor Newton has such a fat barrel and a tiny point, I can hold paint in there for so long, I can take my time, and I can just paint the eye. We'll paint eyes here a little bit. And every time I do this in public, I totally screw the eye up. It's totally epic. This is like, wow, you paint eyes. And I'm like, yeah, watch how you do it. Derp. Pretty good, right? Let's say no more. So you're going to get a little dot, and you're going to spit. And what you're going to do is you're going to start bringing the brush. Can everybody see this? You're going to bring the brush toward the paint dot, and you're going to grab it, and then you're going to pull it away. And see how that just automatically creates a gradation? It's amazing. It makes painting way quicker. and you get really beautiful effects. So I'm gonna put in some shadows on this clip. So I'm gonna look where my shadow, I'm gonna use a light actually. I'm gonna put a little dot, and then real quickly, I'm gonna start blending that out. I can just real quick. Make it real quick. Eat the paint.
It's cool that the dot goes in the area you expect to be the darkest.
Yep.
Okay.
You go right
Right into the.
right in the bottom, man. You just drop right in there. You want like a little V, or with like a round is kind of the shape you want. And you're gonna come in and you're just gonna grab that and just bring it out.
Okay.
In a nice smooth motion. This one needs to be nice and big. I'm just blending that out. Blend that out. Can everybody see? I'll try to do it like this. Oh, that's real awkward, eh?